So, good afternoon. Today we will be discussing on a problem related to root locus technique, and we will try to uh, solve the problem by step method. Let me share the screen. And in the previous class, we have described or discussed about the basics of objective of root locus technique and how it is applied for analyzing and how the step-by-step methods involved in designing a root locus plot. So everything we have described, we have discussed in the previous class. Now let me start this problem. The problem statement says that it has two parts actually. The first part deals with uh, sketch the root locus of the system whose open loop transfer function is provided as g of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 2 into s plus 4. Find the value of k so that the damping ratio of the closed loop system is 0.5. That is the second part. So first part is finding out the root locus plot, drawing the root locus plot. So let me start with the uh, procedure of root locus. So the given transfer function is open loop transfer function is g of s h of s is equal to, and we assume that this is a unity feedback. So g of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 2 into s plus 4. It's a very standard problem which is many times university examinations and non-university examinations, when you are writing a conventional type, you might have come across this problem in different question papers of different years, right? So this is the poles are, so from the transfer function I can say the poles are s is equal or s into s plus 2 into s plus 4 is equal to 0. Will provide me s is equal to 0, s is equal to minus 2, and s is equal to minus 4. So the number of number of finite poles, how do you provide it? It is n. Okay, denote it like n. N is equal to 3. The number of finite zeros from the problem is denoted as m, and you are not having any zeros because your numerator polynomial, there is no numerator polynomial, you are having only the gain k, right? So the number of root locus branches, the number of root locus branches is equal to the number of poles, which is equal to 3. The number of root locus branches, the same way, number of root locus branches reaching the open loop zeros at infinity is n minus m, which is equal to 3 minus 0, which is equal to 3. So since you doesn't have a open loop 0, but we know that the starting point of a root locus is going to be an open loop pole, and it ends at an open loop 0. If you are not having any open loop 0, finite open loop 0, it will try to end at a infinite open loop 0. And here, since you are not having any zeros, open loop zeros, finite open loop zeros, we assume that all the root locus branches which starts from the open loop poles 0, minus 2, and minus 4 will try to end at uh, the infinite open loop zeros. Okay, so the number of open loop zeros at infinity will be equal to n minus m, which is equal to 3 minus 0, which is 3. And let us start working on that problem. We will try to first locate these poles and zeros. Let me try that. I will take a linear graph sheet. I will try to locate the poles. So this is what you say to your linear graph sheet. Let me take a pointer and size of the pointer is going to be this. I will choose red color. So s is equal to 0, s is equal to -2, and 1. Okay, so this is going to be my linear graph sheet. I have divided it. This is going to be sigma, this is going to be minus sigma, this is j omega, and probably this is minus j omega. So this is 0. So I will choose every point to be, every 2 points to be, okay, this particular scale. So this is 0. Okay, so I will leave this. This is 0. This is -1, and I leave this one. This is -2. Leave this one. This is -3. Leave this one. This is -4. So at -4 you have a pole. At -2 you have a pole, and at 0 you have a pole. So hope that this is completely visible to you. Let me, if you want, I can maximize that and I can show that. So the scale I have chosen this as, this is going to be -1, this is -2, this is -3, okay, this is -4, and probably this is going to be 1, and this is going to be 2. Okay, let us say this also, we will consider this also. This is going to be 1, 2 points, so 2, another point, we will have a 3, and let me line the up. Leave 1, you will have a 4, leave 1, you have a 5, leave 1, you have a 6, then leave 1, you have 7. Okay, this is positive j omega axis, and this is going to be negative. So 1, and let us this is the point. So this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. It goes on like this. So my graph sheet I have marked, and also maybe I can choose a different color to notify that pole location. So I choose this one. So let me draw this one. So this is my pole number 1, s is equal to 0, s is equal to -2, and s is equal to -4. So I have located my poles first. Okay, my first work is I am located my poles, right? Different 0, -2, and -4. Okay. So what is my next work? I have to find the remaining steps involved. So what are the remaining things I have to find? Step by step, I should know how many asymptotes are required. The number of asymptotes is equal to number of root locus branches which has to be guided to reach the zeros at infinite. Okay, so here we need 3 root locus branches to reach the zeros at infinity. So what we do, we will try to find the number of asymptotes. The number of asymptotes, the guiding lines, is also is also equal to n minus m, which is equal to 3. So let me find the angle of asymptotes. So the angle of asymptotes, okay, theta is equal to, the formula is what? Plus or minus 180 degree 2q plus 1 divided by n minus m, and q varies from 0, 1, 2 up to n minus m. Okay, here in this problem, okay, n minus m is equal to 3. So q varies from 0, 1, 2, and 3. So let me start with the first one. So theta, let me, q is equal to 0, which implies in this formula, if you substitute, theta will be equal to plus or minus 180 into 2. Q value is going to be 0 plus 1 divided by n minus m. N minus m is 3. So what will you get? 0 plus or minus 180 divided by 3, which is equal to plus or minus 60 degrees. And if you go for q is equal to 1, you will get theta is equal to plus or minus 180 2 into 1 plus 1 divided by 3, which will yield me 180 plus or minus 180 3 divided by 3, which is equal to plus or minus 180 degrees. And q is equal to 2, which will imply theta is equal to plus or minus 180 plus or minus 180. So you will get it like, if you put it like 60 into 5, you will get 300, which is again a replica of the same. 300 is a replica of 60 degrees. Okay, you can write it like it is equal to minus plus 60 degrees. Q equal to 3 implies theta is equal to plus or minus 180. Okay, 2 into 3 plus 1 divided by 3, which is equal to plus or minus 180 into 7. Okay, 7 divided by 3, which is equal to plus or minus 420 degrees. Again, this is going to be plus or minus 60 degrees. So these three, 1, 2, and 3 are denoting the same points. So don't worry about that. So my total angle will be theta is equal to either plus or minus 60 and plus or minus 180 degrees. So this is my angle of asymptotes. Angle of asymptotes, which has to be noted down for this particular problem, is plus or minus 60 degree and plus or minus 180 degrees. Then the next point is we have to calculate the centroid. Centroid is the joining point. Okay, joining point of these asymptotes in the real axis. So we should find the point which is denoted as sigma a centroid, which is equal to the sum of poles minus sum of zeros divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. What are the poles? 0, minus 2, minus 4. If you add all these things and you doesn't have a 0, divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. So you have minus 6 by 3, which is equal to minus 2. So sigma A is equal to minus 2 is the centroid. Sigma A is equal to minus 2 is the centroid. So we have found both your centroid and your what is that asymptotes, angle of asymptotes. So what we have to do? Let me go to the graph sheet. Let me go to the graph sheet. So it is available here. So my centroid is already available there. Okay, so this is my sigma A. This is my centroid. Okay, so keeping the protractor here, let us assume that your procircle is kept as the midpoint 2, and if this is 0 degree to the sigma side, it is, for example, this is your protractor or a procircle. Okay, this center point should be sigma A. That is, here it is going to be minus 2. Okay, here, and this is going to be 0. This is going to be 180 degree, and this is going to be 90 degrees. Probably, so you will get it like plus or minus 60 degree. This is going to be plus 60, and you will get minus 60 here. So this is plus 60, and this one is minus 60, and this is 180 degrees. This side plus or minus 180. So probably if you mark that point, okay, if you mark that centroid, you let me. This is an approximate plot. Don't confuse. You can use your proper pro circle, and you can. This is 60 degree, and let us say that I am crossing it near 4. Okay, right. Let me see that here also I cross that here minus 4. So this is going to be minus 60 degree. Minus 60 degree. Let me zoom that on so you'll be able to get that. So I probably have, what I have done. I have done it like I have taken this point as a centroid, minus 2 as centroid, and I have kept the procircle marked as plus or minus 60 degree, and the 180 degree is the real axis. So don't worry about that. We will consider that later. Okay, so based on the things which I have found out, we find that roughly I will try to draw it here. What happens here? This is your linear graph sheet. Let us assume that you have a linear graph sheet like this. This is your x-axis, y-axis are sigma minus sigma j omega minus j omega. So I have marked my poles 0, minus 2 and minus 4. Okay, these are the poles. Now this is also my centroid. Sigma A is also minus 2. So what I have done, I have kept the procircle at minus 2. Okay, I have taken that as a reference point. Found this is 60 degree, and the same way I have marked this one as minus 60 degrees. Okay, so I have marked the asymptotes. 180 degree is your real axis, so don't worry about that, right? So this is what we have done it so far. What is my next point? I should find where my root locus branches exist actually in the real axis. So for that, we have already have discussed about that. Okay, so I am taking a test point here between 0 and minus 2, and if I see the right hand side of that point, okay, let us say I am taking a test point of minus 1. Okay, if I see the right side of the minus 1 point, I can see that only one pole is existing. Even I can draw it in a bigger enlarged way. This is 0. Let us say this is minus 2 and this is minus 4. If I am taking a test point minus 1, and to the right side if I see, I have only one pole. Okay, one pole which is a odd number. Which is an odd number. Okay. So what I will say, through this point, minus 1, I have definitely a root locus passing through that. Through this point, I have definitely a root locus passing through this, and this is true up to minus 2. If I am taking a test point of minus 3, if I am seeing to the right side, I have two poles to right side of the test point minus 3, and 2 is an even number, so you will not have a root locus branch. But if I am taking a point after minus 4, that is, let us say I am taking a point as minus 5, and to the right side I will have 3 poles. So I will have definitely a root locus branch passing through these real axis from minus 4 up to minus infinity. So what I can conclude, there is a possibility of a root locus branch lying between 0 and minus 2, and from minus 4 to infinity, minus infinity. There is a possibility of having a root locus branch in the real axis. Okay. So what is my next step? Since I have adjacent poles, I will carry that uh, the drawing 0, minus 2, minus 4. Let us extend that. Sigma minus sigma j omega minus j omega. Okay, so I have taken the angle also already. Asymptotes are there. This is sigma a, and this is 60 degree, and this is minus 60 degree, and I have found that there is a possibility of a root locus branch between 0 and minus 2. Okay, 0 and minus 2 you have a root locus branch, and from minus 4 to minus sigma you have a root locus branch. For that we have taken some test points and we have organized it. We have found it. Okay, so since we are having adjacent poles, since I think I have to use a different color so that visibility will be there. Okay, since we have uh, adjacent poles, that is minus 2 and minus 4, okay, or we can say that 0 and minus 2, okay, are adjacent. nearby. Okay, it doesn't have any zero or anything between them. So we say it is adjacent. So possibility of a breakaway point. Breakaway point. So if we have an adjacent pole, then there is a possibility of having a breakaway point. If you have an adjacent zero, then there is a possibility of a break-in point. We have discussed about that in the step-by-step methods. So how to find the breakaway point? Consider the characteristic equation. The characteristic equation 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. So I will substitute my g of s there. What is my g of s? K divided by s into s plus 2 into s plus 4 is equal to 0, and h of s is 1, so I have taken that. So if you cross multiply that, what I will get? S into s plus 2 into s plus 4 plus k is equal to 0. If I multiply that and complete the polynomial, what I will get? This is s squared s into s squared plus 6s plus 8 plus k is equal to 0. If I multiply, it is going to be s cube plus 6s squared plus 8s plus k is equal to 0. So from that I will write k is equal to minus of s cube plus 6s squared plus 8s. Okay. So let us say this is one equation. This is an equation which is required to find the breakaway point. Now go to the next step. What is the next step? Finding out what is dk by ds and equating it to 0. So if I take this equation, if I find what is dk by ds, dk by ds is equal to minus of 3s squared plus 6s plus 8 equal to 0. So if I solve this equation, this is a quadratic equation. If I use my formula, what is that quadratic equation formula? Try to find the roots of that equation. I am getting the roots to be s is equal to minus 0.845 and s is equal to 3 minus 3.154. If I solve this, equation 3s squared plus 6s plus 8, then I will get the value s is equal to minus 0.845 and s is equal to minus 3.5 or 3.154. Now substitute these values. Substitute these s is equal to minus 0.845 in k is equal to minus of s cube plus 6s squared plus 8s. And if you substitute this, I will be getting k is equal to 3.08, which is positive. So s is equal to minus 0.845 is a breakaway point. Is a breakaway point. If my k value is found to be positive for this s value, then I can say that point is a breakaway point. The same way, if I substitute s is equal to minus 3.154 in the again the same equation, k is equal to minus of s cube plus 6s squared plus 8s, I am getting a value to be k is equal to minus 3.08, which is negative. So it is not a breakaway point. It is not a breakaway point. So what I can comment, I will go to the next step. What I can comment, this particular s is equal to minus 0.854 or 845. Okay, 845 is a breakaway point. Is a breakaway point. Okay, this is over. So you have a breakaway point between 0 and minus 2. This point minus 0.845 lies between 0 and minus 2. Okay, right. What is the next thing? Finding out the angle of departure, angle of arrival will not be present since no complex conjugate poles are zeros. Okay, because your poles are s is equal to 0, minus 2 and minus 4. You are not having any complex conjugate poles, so no angle of departure. No complex conjugate zeros, no zeros itself actually. But so you will not have any angle of arrival also. So that's okay. Now finding out the crossing point of the root locus branch in j omega axis. So this is another point, okay, very important point where the root locus branch cross your j omega axis, right? So what will you do? Then take your same characteristic equation. What is this characteristic equation? 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. In the previous, you got it like s cube plus 6s squared plus 8s plus k is equal to 0. Now substitute s is equal to j omega, or s is equal to j omega in this equation. I will get j omega the whole cube plus 6 into j omega the whole squared plus 8 into j omega plus k equal to 0. So if I take the cubic value, square value and all, I will get omega cube will be the same. J into j will give you minus 1 into j will give you minus j. So minus j plus you will have 6 the same, but here it will be omega is going to be omega squared. J squared will be minus 1. So minus omega squared plus 8 into j omega plus k is equal to 0. So what you try to do is you try to segregate your imaginary part and real part separately. So I will have minus 6 omega squared plus k, okay, minus j into omega cube minus 8 omega is equal to 0. Okay, so I will take the same to the next page. Minus 6 omega squared plus k minus j into omega cube minus 8 omega. Omega cube minus 8 omega is equal to 0. So real part and imaginary part has to be equated separately to find the value of k and the omega. So what we can do, equate the imaginary part. Omega cube minus 8 omega is equal to 0. Also minus 6 omega squared plus k is equal to 0. So this will give me omega cube is equal to 8 omega. Omega squared is equal to 8. So omega is equal to plus or minus square root of 8. So which is equal to, what is square root of 8? Can anybody say? What is square root of 8? Let me put it like yes, plus or minus 2.82. So omega value is going to be plus or minus 2.82. Now substitute this value here. I can write it like k is equal to 6 omega squared. I know what is omega squared already. So k 6 into 8, which will give me 48. So k is equal to 48 and omega is equal to plus or minus 2.82. So what is the information whatever we have found so far provides me. I will take it to the graph sheet. Okay, where it is crossing actually, this crossing point is plus or minus 2.82. So this is 2 and this is 3. So probably somewhere here it is crossing. Same way, here also this is crossing somewhere here. You have to correctly take it based on your scale actually, right? So let me choose a different color so that the graph has been easily notable. So it is minus 0. Let us be here. So this is a breakaway point. Breakaway point. That is a breakaway point. Okay, so where the root locus starts? The root locus starts from open loop pole. What is the open loop pole here? 0, minus 2 and minus 4. So one root locus branch starts from minus 2, comes to the breakaway point. Even I can mark the breakaway point with a different color. Okay, let it be yellow. Okay, one breakaway. I think I can put green there, and I will use yellow color for root locus. Okay, one root locus branch starts from this point -2. Another root locus starts from this point. They meet each other and they try to move further. Okay, they will cross the imaginary axis here. Also, they will cross the imaginary axis here. And one more root locus starts from -4. It goes here. So let me take this one and I will mark the flow of root locus branch. So this is how it is traveling. So this is minus j 2.82 and this is plus j 2.82, the crossing point, and the another root locus branch is going from here. So all these root locus branches are starting from the open loop pole and it is trying to end at an open loop 0 at infinity. So okay, this is the direction of the root locus branches. They will reach the 0 at infinity. Okay, 0 at infinity. So you will not have any root locus between -2 and -4. We have already defined it. So we have three root locus branches. One starts from 0, the another starts from -2, the other starts from -4. So we have three root locus branches and it is trying to reach the 0 at infinity. Okay, so that is what is available there in your slide. You can see that here. I will try to project it. Now I think it is visible there. You can see all the points whatever we have discussed probably will be there. I think I can choose a highlighter and I can show you that. You can see this is a pole at 0. This is another pole at -2. This is another pole at -4. Okay. Let me choose another highlighter color so that I will be able to identify. Okay, the same is your sigma a. Sigma a is your what is that? Your what is that? Centroid. Okay, there is -2 is there, and also you can see that this point is the breakaway point. Okay, what is the point actually? The point is this is your 0.845. 0.845. I think you can zoom that and in your telephone screen and I mean in your mobile screen and you can visualize that. And you can see that the crossing point of the root locus is j plus j 2.82 and here the crossing point here is going to be minus j 2.82 and another root locus you can see that it is passing here this way. One root locus branch starts from here. It meets the another root locus branch at the point which is called as breakaway point. Okay, it is moving and this is also moving. You can see that. The asymptotes you can see 60° and -60° aspect. So this is how your root locus has to be drawn. And what is the remaining thing as per the problem? As per the problem, the remaining is finding out the value of k when your zeta value is going to be 0.5. Okay, zeta value is going to be 0.5. So for that, what you have to do? Let me do that. So you have cos inverse of zeta is equal to cos inverse of zeta, which is equal to cos inverse of 0.5 is equal to, if you find what is cos inverse of 5, let us say this is 5. So cos inverse of 0.5 is equal to, if you put your calculators in degree mode and if you find cos inverse of 0.5 is going to be 60 degree. It is going to be 60 degrees. Now uh, go back to your same graph. Keep your pro circle at s is equal to 0 at this point. Let me choose a highlighter, light blue highlighter, so that I can mark that differentiation can be done. You can see this is the point, this blue point. you keep the pro circle and try to get a 60 degree, this angle. So you'll be getting a point here. Join these 2 points. It will try to cut your root locus at a point. Load that point. Okay, try to join the line segments from all the other poles. Let us say 0, from 0 you have a line segment. From -2 you have a line segment. From -4 you will have another line segment. Okay, try to draw line segments from that other poles to that point where your root locus is being cut actually. Right, you will have 3 different scales. Let us say L1, L2 and L3. And since I have taken one, this scale is 1 centimeter is equal to 0.5, I have multiplied 0.5 with all these measurements. Take a scale, measure this, you will get 2.6 centimeters. Multiply that with 0.5 because 1 centimeter here is taken as 0.5, because you can see that between -3 and -4 you have -3.5, then you get a 4. So 1 centimeter is taken as 0.5. So now you can measure that, multiply that with, you will get 3 different values. Now K is equal to L1 into L2 into L3, which is equal to all these 3 values, 1.3, 1.75, 3.5, you will get it like 8. So to get zeta to be 0.5, your K value should be chosen as 8. This is one way how to find the K value based on the damping value. Okay, so what you have done, you have found cos inverse of that given zeta value, which gives me 60 degree. Keep that in the 0 location. Then try to take an angle which is 60 degree plus 60 degree with respect to real axis, negative real axis. Okay, that draw a line segment. You will cut the line segment, will be cutting that root locus in a root locus branch. Mark that point. Join the point with the other poles. Draw line segments so that you get the connection between that point which cuts the root locus branch and the other poles. Now measure those lines using scale. You, for example, let us say this is your L1. I will try to mark. This is L1. This is L2, and this is L3. So what is L1 here? As per, if you take your scale and if you measure that, you will get 2.6 centimeters, maybe nearer to that. Since 1 centimeter is taken as 0.5, you can see that the scale is here. 1 centimeter is 0.5 units. So you multiply this with 0.5. Same way, try to find L2, L3. Now K is equal to L1 into L2 into L3. All these L1, L2, L3 has to be multiplied with 0.5 based on the scale. Okay, if you have chosen like -3 and -4 adjacent, that is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit, then there is no need to multiply that with 0.5. Okay, so if you multiply all these 3, then you will get K is equal to 8. So what it says, when K is equal to 8, okay, then zeta will be equal to 0.5. So that's the idea. That's the idea. So this is how your root locus branch has to be drawn. I will write this also. K is equal to L1 into L2 into L3, which is equal to 8. So K is equal to 8 will provide me zeta to be equal to 0.5. So that is also over. So this is the crossing point. This is okay. What the comment, that is very important. Okay, if K is equal to 48, okay, what it says, the system or the transfer function is marginally stable because your pole has moved marginally stable. If K is less than 48, system will be in the LHS. System will have poles in LHS. So say stable. If you increase K more than 48, okay, system poles will be in right hand side of S plane. So system is unstable. So what happens here is, you can see that if K is equal to 0 exactly, it is there on the imaginary axis. The poles are on the imaginary axis, so system is marginally stable. If k is less than 48, then obviously it will be there here. I think k is less than 48 is in the left hand side, and the right hand side what you have, k is greater than 48, and exactly on the imaginary axis here, you will have k is equal to 48. So what this provides you? This provides you the stability region. How far you can vary your gain value to maintain your system to be in your stable part. Okay, so that's the idea. Any doubts in any of the step followed? Kindly tell me. I will try to explain. Those in the classroom, please tell me if you have any doubts related to whatever we have discussed so far. Any step regarding the problem. Okay, this is where we started. Any doubts?